Hey everybody, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal week. We are like a week and a half away from Christmas. It seems like 2020 has been one of the most um, difficult and confusing years yet. But we're having a great time now in December. Today is December 16th, and we are on week number 3 of our weekly devotions for the kids. Today is going to be a story. It's called The Christmas Cookie. The full title is, I guess, The Legend of the Christmas Cookie. And it's by Dandi Mackall. She has a few books out similar: The Legend of St. Nicholas, The Legend of the Candy Cane. This is one of my favorite stories. So we're going to go ahead and read that together. So it starts. In the distance, Jack heard the lonely cry of a train whistle. He leaned into the icy wind and crossed the railroad tracks toward home. Home. Their house hadn't felt like home since Jack's dad had hopped a train west to find work. Now, on Christmas Eve, word came that Dad couldn't make it home for Christmas. As Jack stepped inside, the heavenly scent of sweet bread and licorice wafted from the kitchen. Cookies. But it couldn't be. Mom put every penny Dad sent home straight into the cookie jar. There hadn't been a single cookie in that jar for over a year. If you see the big green cookie jar. This is also an old-time whisk. With the little crank. Jack, Mom called. She was in the kitchen, stirring something in a giant bowl. You're really making cookies? Jack still couldn't believe it. His mother smiled. They're for the needy at church. Jack tried to hide his disappointment. He'd been feeling pretty needy himself lately. Little disappointed Jack. Even the puppy looks kind of disappointed. Unpack the cookie boards, Jack, said his mother, not missing a beat. Beat on the dough. Jack unwrapped the carved wooden shapes: shepherd, star, camel, king, man and woman kneeling, baby, and cross. The last mold was an angel the size of his hand. It's so big, Jack exclaimed. He could make a cookie like that last a whole week. Now these sound kind of familiar. The camel, the angel, the star, the baby. Jack's mother helped him roll the dough into a smooth oval. It was hard work. Why are we going to so much trouble to make Christmas cookies people are just going to eat anyway? Jack asked. His mom picked up the big angel mold and dusted it with flour. Maybe it's time you heard why people first started making Christmas cookies. Jack watched as his mother pressed the angel board into the dough. The story goes back hundreds of years, she began, back to the Middle Ages. In the old country, where your father's people lived, times were hard. Jack rolled another batch of dough and wondered if times in the Middle Ages had been harder than they were right now, and if boys missed their fathers like he missed his. And as you guys can see, he even made a card. It says, "To my father." The villagers couldn't afford school, so most couldn't read. As Christmas drew near, one family longed to help their neighbors discover the true meaning of Christmas. Let's carve figures to tell the story of Christ's birth, the father, a wood carver, suggested. But the villagers are hungry, his wife pointed out. We should bake for them. So the family worked together. The woodcarver whittled, scooping out wood until it formed the shape of an angel. He finished all the figures. Then his wife mixed sweet dough to fill the molds. When the cookies were done, the children decorated them with berries and colored sugar. Kind of sounds like different ingredients than we would use today, like the berries. I don't know if we would put berries in Christmas cookies. On Christmas Eve, the woodcarver's family carried the cookies to the village. Soon a crowd gathered. As his daughter held up the angel cookie, the woodcarver began. Long ago, an angel like this one brought us the most wonderful news. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord. They recounted the whole story of Jesus' life as they handed out cookies to the amazed listeners. Ever since that night, generations have passed down the art of making Christmas cookies and of telling the story of the true meaning of Christmas. At the Christmas Eve service, Jack thought of the woodcarver's family when the pastor read the same passage from Luke, the angel's announcements to the shepherds, which we talked about last week. As Jack stood to sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing, his gaze fell on the stained glass window. All of the figures were there: the star, the shepherd, Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. And above them was the angel. The window told the whole story, just like the Christmas cookies. All of the characters are there. That night, Jack dreamed of giant Christmas cookies. When he awoke, his mother was waiting. "Merry Christmas, Jack." She handed him the big angel cookie. "For me?" Jack hugged his mother, but before he could take a bite, there was a knock at the door. Jack froze. His mother raced past him to answer the door. It would be just like Dad to surprise them and show up on Christmas morning. Even the dog is excited. Well, he might be more excited for the cookie, but still pretty excited. An old man stood in the doorway. "Could you spare a stranger a bite to eat?" he asked. Disappointment choked off Jack's words and made his eyes water. Jack could tell his mother was as let down as he was, but she invited the man to come in from the cold. "You're welcome to share our breakfast," she said. The stranger ate fast without saying much. When he'd finished every last crumb, he thanked them and left. Jack watched the man walk off towards the tracks. Jack hoped, prayed, that strangers had invited his dad to share their breakfast. Jack wished he had taken the time to talk to the stranger, to wish him a Merry Christmas. "Jack, don't forget your cookie," Mom said. Jack ran his finger along the grooves of the angel's wings. He could almost hear the old woodcarver. "That's it," he exclaimed. Jack tore out of the house and ran to catch up with the stranger. "What's this?" asked the stranger, taking the cookie Jack offered him. "It's yours," Jack explained, "and there's a story that goes with it." Then, right there, beside the railroad tracks, under a gray sky that promised snow, Jack began. "Long ago, an angel like this one had brought us the most wonderful news. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord." So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. This is one of my favorite Christmas stories. And have a wonderful Christmas. I will see you guys next week for our final story.